We'll be joined by the Thai ambassador to the US to ask him if there is a roadmap to democracy. That's coming up. After last month's coup, the military authorities in Thailand have suppressed any resistance to their rule. Most of the former government and leaders of the red shirt movement that supported it have promised to abandon political activity. But what of the thousands of ordinary red shirt followers in the former government strongholds of north and eastern Thailand? Jonathan Head reports now from Udon Thani.
In the hard-scrabbled farmlands of Thailand's northeast, red-shirt loyalists like Bunson have been caught off guard by the military takeover. His life has become entwined with the red-shirt cause. He met his wife at their rallies. But for all the talk of fighting back, now the coup has happened, he's unsure what to do.
For now, we'll just wait and watch what they do. We're not afraid of them. But the soldiers do have weapons. Still, there are more of us here in the northeast than they have in the army.
The military is keeping a close watch on the red shirts here, in one of their strongholds. It's raided their homes and questioned their leaders. So far, that's been enough to stop any real resistance.
Keep staying here. We have to shut up or...
Inky used to run one of the hundreds of local radio stations that mobilised support for the red shirt movement. Since the coup, though, she's been in hiding, moving from house to house, afraid she'll be detained.
Do most people accept this, that they have to stop all their red shirt activities now?
They have to stop too, because they can't fight to your head. What you can do? We have to stop, we have to. But we don't want to.
In village after village, we saw almost no signs of opposition.
I came to this place 6 months ago. Back then, it had declared itself to be a red village, and most homes proudly displayed posters and other paraphernalia proclaiming their loyalty to the government and the party's founder, Thaksin Shinawatra. But today, like much of this region, it's fearful and silent.
Back then, Kamsen Chaitep and her neighbours were happy to show their affection for the man they say transformed their lives.
I love you.
Not anymore. The prized poster of Thaksin stays hidden indoors.
I can't eat. I can't sleep. It's torturing me, this situation. I can't accept it. I would love to speak out, but I can't. If I speak out, I'll have to leave the country.
In the end, the predicted uprising against the coup didn't happen here. But they haven't given up. In their little hut out in the rice fields, Bunson and his wife still believe in the democracy they thought they were fighting for and the better life they hoped it would bring. Jonathan Head, BBC News, Udon Thani, Thailand.
Let's take you to Washington now. I'm joined by the Thai ambassador to the US, Wejawat Esrabakti. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us. How do you defend the picture that is painted in that piece of red shirt supporters who are fearful and incredibly afraid of speaking out?
Well, I have to say that in order to look at the military's decision to take control of national administration, there were many underlying factors, and it needs to be looked at in the context of what has been happening over the past 6 to 7 months in Thailand. We see that there has been great divisiveness and political turmoil among two very firmly entrenched groups. We've seen great violence and loss of lives of almost 30 people and injuries to almost more than 700 people. And we've also seen that there's been a breakdown in law and order and administrative paralysis. with government agencies being taken over as well as government house. So for this reason, the military control of administrative powers has been done to maintain order and to allow us to be able to move forward.
So you believe
now,
that for there to be any stability in Thailand, there has to be a complete suppression of any alternative point of view? We are even hearing today that in Thai schools, children are not allowed to express any anti-military sentiment.
I think suppression is a very strong word, and it's more in terms of seeking cooperation by everyone so that the country can move forward. I think what we need now is a cooling off period, because there's been such polarization in society, and even people within the same families, close friends, have opposing views and are against each other. So for this first 3 months at least, in which we're trying to seek national reconciliation, cooperation is being sought so that people do not express political views, and so that there's more of a basis to cooperate and move forward.
Yes, but the army has said that for there to be any elections and any democracy, there has to be reconciliation between the political parties. You've just explained how deep the divide is. How does the army intend to bridge that divide and bring reconciliation? Well,
a three-phase roadmap has already been announced within 1 week after the takeover of administrative control. The first phase, which takes around 3 months, will be to try to set up reconciliation centers in all of the provinces at provincial, district, sub-district, and village level, so that people of different views are able to come together and talk and discuss and to see whether they can reconcile, with the military being outsiders and just arranging the forum but not taking part in it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but I just want to ask how that works when people, red shirt supporters, are telling our correspondents and people that they're scared that they're going to be jailed for expressing any view that is different to what the military junta wants.
Well, these are options, these are opinions before such reconciliation has even taken place. So I think that once the reconciliation process starts, and it has started in some provinces already, and we've seen there are news reports that reporters are even surprised that former red shirts and yellow shirts are coming together and actually discussing. So I think before being skeptical, we should let this process have a chance first.
Can I ask you about how you deal with officials in Washington who have cut military aid already to Thailand and cancelled military exercises? How do you convince them, and also, because we don't have much time, foreign investors who are incredibly worried about these months and months, years in fact, of political divisions and uncertainty in Thailand? How do you convince them that everything's going to be okay?
Well, admittedly, this is a difficult time in Thai-US relations, a very challenging one. But I still maintain close channels of contact with the US administration, with the State Department. I'm told that I'm welcome to go in anytime, and we've had very good talks, because one must not lose sight of the fact that the relations between Thailand and the US are so deep. They go back almost 2 centuries, and we were the first country to have a treaty with the United States. So there are many areas of cooperation other than just military assistance. There's cooperation in human trafficking, drug trafficking, and so forth. And so we should concentrate on those areas that are of mutual benefit to both countries and to the region.
So very briefly, how do you win back the confidence of investors and also, crucially, of tourists? Because tourism is dropping like a stone in Thailand at the moment. People just don't want to go to your country.
Well, they're dropping now because there's uncertainty, but I think now that they see that things are actually probably much more peaceful than they were over the past 6 to 7 months, they will start returning. And in terms of foreign investors, I've been meeting with investors. I will continue to do that. And even during the events of last week, I was already on a trip to Texas meeting with businessmen and investors, and I had the opportunity to talk to them and to reassure them that the government continues to give importance to investors and to see that their investments will be well protected and taken care of.
Ambassador Wejwat, thank you very much for joining us from Washington here on Impact.
Okay.
Do stay with us here on BBC World News, still to come.